understand that.
So New York City is on a fault line. Manhattan's on a fault line. So they shouldn't have built fucking tall buildings on a fault line because...
No, hold on. I'm talking...
I mean, if they'd done a little research first, maybe. I mean, they would have...
In the Mississippi...
Well, we should have did those research when we sold... we got it from the Indians, and then we'll figure that out.
That's whose fault it is. They sold us a lemon.
The red man sold us
Those
the red...
fucking bastards.
Up and down the Mississippi, as some people like to call it.
Trail of Tears. Yeah.
Even before global warming started
Save all
to
that
become
shit
a
for
thing,
Thursday.
Yeah.
even before global warming started to come out and about and be, before it was like a main environmental issue like it is today, they were still having issues in Louisiana and every state and every town up and down the Mississippi about huge flood damage whenever tornadoes or hurricanes or huge rainstorms would come. Mm-hmm. Because I remember reading how because they keep building too close to the river because everybody wants to live nearby the river. They like to have river views and town, and it raises the property value. And that's where your flooding occurs because they're not allowing the land to do what it does naturally. And this even was before. I mean, you had huge floodings in towns in the 1800s because they just built too close to rivers, not considering the flooding that it naturally does every so often.
Okay.
With global warming, that just makes it worse.
The only part I don't understand about the Louisiana thing is what do they like walked up to the beach and they were like, look at all this water. You want to go swimming? No, I want to pump all the water out and build a city here. Like,
see, and this
but you can say the same thing about Ocean City. People live in Ocean City
in the
1700s in fucking Atlanta.
How in the 1700s did you build a city underwater?
There were never floods. There was never a flood in Louisiana as of knowledge. Hold on, there was never a flood or a hurricane that hit Louisiana the way that Katrina hit Louisiana. So to make that kind of like, well, in the 1700s, how the fuck would they know? Like they didn't know when they built the city. It's like nobody knew at the time when New York City was being built that they were on a fault line. It's like no one does that much research on it.
On a fault line, sure.
Los Angeles would have never been built if they just said, okay, fuck it, we can't put on a fault line.
I have no problem with the fault lines because I don't think the technology to declare where fault lines are existed then. But rivers and floodplains have been... That's...
With
Native Americans
what I'm saying is,
figured it out.
With that kind of logic of saying, well, they shouldn't have built a city below sea level, then you shouldn't really build a city near the Atlantic Ocean.
It's not about
that's below sea level. You look out the water, the water's higher than me.
Yeah, but what if we ever have the same thing that Japan got, the tsunami, and then all of a sudden shit like that happens here?
Half of Maryland's gone, yes.
Yeah. So
no, I know what you're saying.
That's a rare, crazy tsunami.
Yeah, it was a rare, crazy tsunami in Japan too. So
and no one's criticizing Japan for their location of nuclear plants.
Yeah, but
no, I know what you're saying.
I don't think you do.
I understand.
This argument would have been over already.
No, I completely understand what you're saying and where you're coming from. Like as far as building under sea level is concerned, okay. But just for Venice, for example, when Chris brought that up, they built all their stuff on top of it. Mm-hmm. And then there's lots of distance in between for flooding. They're like, oh, well, since we're building, kind of, I think Venice is below sea level, and then we want to build stuff on top of it, let's make sure there's plenty of room to...
But we don't know the infrastructure of Louisiana.
I think I do.
No, you really don't.
I think I know the inside.
If playing Assassin's Creed really Liberation is
then you would have never made such a silly comment than what you did before.
No, it's a matter...
It would have never come out of your mouth if you knew...
No. I don't have a problem with building below sea level as long as you take proper precautions.
They did.
Understandable.
Clearly not.
But I think they could have built maybe...
It has to work 100% all the time. Play your Vita and shut up.
No, shit happens.
I'm not playing
but
Vita.
I'm saying like maybe they could have because they knew how low they were. Uh-huh. That maybe that there could have been more precautions? I'm not talking about during Katrina. I'm talking about maybe beforehand. Like,
but that's what we're talking about is Katrina. That's what this is what the whole thing is. We're talking about.
I'm talking about before Katrina when they
didn't have that many problems before Katrina. Is what I'm saying is the argument was during Katrina, and when the levees broke and flooded the town, no one saw or no one thought that those levees were going to break.
No, I understand that. Yeah,
right. So it's like you can build. Say if you have a giant fortress around North Dakota. And then all of a sudden you have 17 natural disasters at one moment, and you think, oh well, we build this fortress to withstand 18, but then all of a sudden, the 18th and the 19th one showed up and destroyed it. You don't account for that stuff.
No, you don't account. There's no way to prepare for an act of God like that.
Right.
There's not. I agree with you on that. I'm talking about all the times building up to that. People stopped keeping in mind, because it's been documented and it's been stated that if Louisiana ever got hit by a horrible storm, that they would have been fucked. And this was like decades even before Katrina happened, because they stopped taking into consideration how close they're building to the Gulf of Mexico and to the Mississippi, and how low they were below their land was.
But to say they didn't take precaution. And we're not in any of those meetings, so we don't know if, we weren't there to know if they had any precautions. They had, from what I've read about it and from what I watched, they had precaution. It was just there was a lot of
Katrina,
people.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, no, they have precaution for other things. To say that they don't have it for other things is kind of it's a wrong statement to make, because they had it for other things. Is what I'm saying. Like, they had it before Katrina. It's just that they didn't account how powerful Katrina was, because at first it was a storm. It was a thunderstorm, or it was something to that effect, and then it became a hurricane.
No, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not faulting anything like the actual event of Katrina. I think they, compared to what happened and how well they were able to deal with it, I think
City's going to sink into the fucking ocean.
Well, it sinks an inch every year.
Yeah, whatever.
You guys want to answer the question?
And I think Ocean City's stupid. It's a man-made freaking thing that is
any island
repeatedly.
Is stupid. Apparently, in this conversation, you shouldn't live on islands. You shouldn't live below sea level. You shouldn't, fuck if you ever decide you're going to move to Sea Lab. So fuck that, because that's under sea.
No,
so whatever.
No, like Florida sinks, what, they say an inch to 3 inches a year?
I don't know.
Whatever. But Ocean City...
With the amount of Jews in Florida?
Ocean City is a man-made thing.
It's being held up by pennies.
All of Ocean City, Maryland is man-made, and it sinks a lot every year. And I just personally, granted, I wouldn't see it in my lifetime maybe, but I wouldn't own any property on Ocean City.
I'd go to Ocean City to visit, and that's it. The last time I went there, it was raining, and it was...
I just don't trust man-made islands. I don't trust
man-made flying machines.
All right, well, that answered my question.
Carrier pigeon is the only way I'll go.
I looked on the interwebs, and from what Wikipedia tells me, is that Louisiana wasn't originally built below sea level, because
they extended into it.
Well, no, it was built on it was built on a levee, a natural levee, which is essentially just a high ground, and it was only built on the high ground because the rest of it flooded. They didn't want to build there because it fucking floods. But after years and years of Louisiana being there, it does what's the word I'm looking for? It's well, now it's gone. Oh, it's subsidence, and it pushes the dirt down and everything settles because it was originally built on marsh. Now, why the fuck you'd want to build anything on marsh? I don't know. Rednecks do silly things. I don't know, but it starts to sink, and then they built levees up as it sank. They built up Army Corps of Engineers built up fake levees as it sank.
Okay, so they didn't build into the floodplains.
No.
Just started.
It just like
eroding into the. Okay.
Just like what's its face? Venice. Venice was built on flat land and started to sink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Same thing with New Orleans. It's just like Venice,
right.
Except instead of
that is acceptable.
Instead of building the buildings tall,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm better with it now. Yeah,
I'm better with it now.
Instead of building the buildings taller, and letting it flood.
None of my fucking explanation. Thanks, Wikipedia.
Well, no, because my whole thing is...
You're not right.
I am right.
No, you said there was nothing wrong with their decision. We thought their decision was foolhardy.
There's nothing wrong with the decision. If people want to do stupid shit, you can't tell them not to do it. So it's like, nothing's wrong with their decision. Whatever. It's like, okay, they built their shit. They didn't say they legitimately went into the below sea level and decided to keep going.
A lot of places around rivers now do. For example, in Severna Park, all those people who spent, like, that's a multi-million-dollar neighborhood. It's one of the most expensive places to live in the state of Maryland and in the country, is around Severna Park and the Severn River. And you look at those houses that 10 years ago they had some decent property, and the amount of erosion that has happened in just 10 years. Mm-hmm. Another 10 years, their houses are going to be in the river because they don't care anymore about building too close to shit.
So what you're saying is people that live in Fells Point shouldn't live in Fells Point?
I'm just
because
saying...
because they're near the water?
No, I'm just saying it's not a great idea. You have to be... You can't bitch that your store...
If you want to live in Fells Point, I don't want to
I want to live in a fireproof home. No, I don't want no chances of fire whatsoever in my home.
Okay.
Right. I can't make that promise. I can't make that because, God forbid, electrical fire. God forbid when you cook or I cook, grease fire. It's like I can't do that.
Don't waste grease.
If you're
it's not wasting grease when you have a grease fire, you ass.
If you decide to be in
not wasting grease.
If you decide to be a cook or a chef, and you're in the kitchen,
you're too fat for your own good.
Someone could have eaten that.
And you accidentally cut yourself, or you accidentally burn yourself. You can't really bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch for like weeks on end because you hurt yourself at work. That's what you chose to do. I grew up working with horses.
If I was a police officer and I got shot, I can't bitch that I got shot because I chose to be a police officer.
Right.
Nah, getting shot. Come on, that's not.
But the argument is like
the job.
But that's your argument.
But no, that's because that was done to you by another person who has the ability to know right and wrong and can, no. I don't agree with that. But I'm saying, like, for example, I grew up working with horses. My bitch at the horse for maybe 10 seconds if it fucking kicked me? Yeah, because it fucking hurts. But then after that, I'm like, well...
I've never heard you bitch for only 10 seconds.
Oh, shut up. But...
I mean, so far it's been like what?
Women don't know how to bitch for 10 seconds.
But...
Women bitch forever.
That is the job that I choose to do. I understand the situation that I am in. And if I got kicked... 9 times out of 10 is because I didn't take the proper precautions to pay attention to the possibility that I was going to get kicked.
But you can say the same thing about police officers that get shot.
That's what I said. I agree with you I'm on the same page with you about the cops.
Okay.
I'm talking about, because there's more things that go into that than if you were, like I said, if you were a cook and you cut yourself or you nicked yourself. Or you burnt yourself. Cops, there's too many other things that go into that. Let's talk about something else.
Just admit that I'm right.
No.
Just admit it right now.
Never.
Let's do it. Admit I'm right.
No.
Never.
You're not right.
You too.
No.
I'm right.
I don't even know what arguing about anymore. I know you're not right.
Whatever.
Okay, I know the people at home can't see what we're watching. Well, first off, what the fuck's with the old movie channel? Kind of cool, kind of fucking lame. Same time, a little conflicted about it. Yeah. But furthermore, let's talk about these walkie-talkies they got that are bigger than my fucking arm.
Hugest fucking walkie-talkies I've ever seen.
This shit is ridiculous. Time progresses and things happen.
Like there's that more cell phones.
Like watch walkie-talkies now.
Yeah,
and they're like carrying these like big bricks.
Got a little cell phone.
They have like a
little Bluetooth in your ear.
5-mile radius on them. Jesus. All right. Well, we'll do a musical break. We won't do any commercials tonight. And then when we come back from this musical break, Chris is going to completely bitch about Disney and Star Wars.
I never bitch. Bitching is reserved.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't bitch.
Do dialogue instead of bitch.
I tell people what they need to think.